stay away. There is a cryptocurrency that I am not touching, and it's not Worldcoin. It's a new cryptocurrency that's being pushed out to the masses that a lot of people will probably have access to very soon, if not already. And it's being pushed by some of the biggest Twitter accounts out there in the crypto space. I also want to talk about what just happened with the Fed and why you should be bullish on Bitcoin. If you don't mind, hit subscribe underneath the video, turn on that bell notification. If you want to know what I'm buying and selling, you can check out the link to the Patreon. We've been having more people sign up there, and I just revamped one of the tiers so you can get back into that. It is being bought up, and a lot of people are joining pretty quickly right now. So first, let's talk about the Fed. So Jerome Powell just got done speaking. He said the normal stuff, the boring stuff, but he also said some really bullish stuff and something that did scare the market a little bit. So first of all, obviously, he said the normal boring stuff, which is inflation has moderated. They're still going for a 2% inflation objective. We won't take decisions meeting by meeting. But then he said something, he actually said a few things that were actually pretty bullish. That NASDAQ started to move up, crypto started to move up. He said something towards the end that kind of scared people a little bit, which I think will be fine long term. It's just something that the market didn't really want to hear. They did say, or Jerome Powell said, that we are likely to see softness in the labor market even if they stop hiking rates. There's a lag effect, which means basically if there are less people that are going to be employed, that we will see probably lower earnings from some companies because they won't have as much money to spend on products. So even though we haven't seen unemployment go up, the fact is that the market doesn't like to hear that we could see that. Now, I think everyone knows that that's a possibility. So I think this is one of those things where it's a knee-jerk reaction to something Jerome Powell says. But then we realize that we already knew that. And then we start moving up again. And I think the other stuff they said was actually quite bullish. So he said, if we hiked until 2% inflation, we would over-tighten. Someone asked basically, since there is a lag after you raise rates, when are you going to stop raising rates? Is it going to be once we hit 2% inflation? And like I said, he said, no, that would be over tightening essentially. He also says the Fed is no longer forecasting a recession. He thinks the base case is still that we're going to have a soft landing. He also said the real Fed fund rate is restrictive right now. We've come a long way considering how far we've come. We can be patient. So he basically said that we're going to take it meeting by meeting. We have a lot of inflation data coming up before the next meeting, but at this rate, we probably won't have to raise rates. He said he didn't think that they're going to be lowering rates in 2023, he thinks, which was kind of an interesting thing. So it sounds like we may be getting rate cuts next year, which is bullish. So it sounds like we're pretty much done raising rates, assuming we don't get some kind of large inflation report. And to be fair, that makes sense. I mean, what more do they want to see? We saw inflation go from 4.9% to 4% to 3% CPI over 2 months. We saw PPI go all the way down to 0.1%, which is a leading indicator. We've seen rent inflation for U.S. single-family homes drop to 2-year lows. We're seeing commodities like natural gas move down 70% in 1 year. So what more could they really ask for in terms of inflation? What more could they want to see? Well, they just want to see these numbers continue to come down and to stay down. So it seems like we're pretty much at the end of this, and I think this is quite bullish for the market. Now I want to move on to something that is super sketchy that's happening in crypto right now, and I'm not touching this crypto, even though it might become a $1 billion crypto. We've talked about TUSD in the past. We've talked about some of the sketchy things that are happening with Prime Trust, basically losing a bunch of people's money, then trying to trade and make up the money. And TUSD was a company that had exposure to it. However, they said that they had no exposure to Prime Trust, but then they sent users this email saying that they could no longer mint or redeem due to Prime Trust. And I've talked about this before. It seems like this is a pretty sketchy cryptocurrency. I'm not going to be using it. It's a stablecoin that Binance has been using and doing zero fee trades as well. They had some of their collateral caught up in Prime Trust though, and it's odd too, just because even though it is one of the larger stablecoins, it's still only a 2.8 billion market cap, and this seems to be a big trading pair on Binance. Now, TUSD was also getting some huge promotions from Binance. In addition to the zero trading fees, CZ and I believe it's Justin Sun were paying 10% for you to lock up your TUSD for 150 days. This is a high amount of interest, and I think everyone that's been around crypto for the last few years has realized that anytime you get more than a few percent in interest, especially if it's something that doesn't get staking fees, it's sketchy, because how are they coming up with this kind of money? They most likely aren't, or they're writing collateral from illiquid assets. So that was TUSD. Now there's a new cryptocurrency that's also coming from Justin Sun. So Binance will list the new stablecoin First Digital USD and open trading for new spot trading pairs on July 26, 2023. FDUSD is a dollar stablecoin launched by First Digital Trust, a Hong Kong-based digital asset custodian that is currently only issued on BNB and Ethereum chains. This comes after TUSD, looking pretty sketchy. This is issued by the same custodian that Justin Sun uses for TUSD. They issue against value, not assets, so like a liquid paper equity, goodwill, Justin Sun's promises, etc. It's really just them trying to rebrand the Sun CZ Ponzi here. This is coming from Adam Cochran, pretty closely watching this matter. Now, Adam Cochran also just posted this. This is from the company showing their reserves. And on June 23, so a month ago, basically, they had $532.52 in reserves for their FDUSD. They only had 532 FDUSD circulating. Then, about a week later, they had about double that amount. Pretty weird that the largest crypto exchange in the world would be promoting this so heavily when it literally wasn't. It didn't have $1,000 in assets 5 weeks ago. So pretty weird. I would stay away from this cryptocurrency. Even if they're giving you free trades, I don't think it's worth it to get into this and have some exposure to this kind of, it looks like Ponzi scheme, honestly. Now, do your own research. I can't tell you what to do. It's going to be your decision. I think USDT and USDC are definitely the safest out there. Now, Binance also withdrew their license application in Germany following reports it was going to be rejected. Probably better press if it's not actually rejected, but they just withdraw. It seems like they're having a hard time getting into a lot of different European countries at this point. They've been pushed out of a lot of the countries that they were doing business in. So I'd be careful if you're still using Binance right now. Now, we also have some good news. Italian central bank backs DeFi tokenization project with Polygon and Fireblocks. The Italian central bank's Milano hub has selected a project headed by Certif Advisory and Polygon Labs in its second round of proposals. So basically what they're trying to do is create tokenization for real-world assets, which is pretty cool. I think that will be big one day. This is, I think, good overall for the industry and continues to show that there are more and more people trying to get in and actually use blockchain technology. Speaking of new technology, Worldcoin struggles to find new users willing to scan iris for crypto. So they had over 2 million pre-signups, but they only had about 200 signups on the first day. This is according to a report in the China Morning Post. So they had 2 million pre-signups, and they're getting like 1,000 over a few days of these signups in person. So it seems like it might have either been a little bit hokey, all the numbers coming in ahead of time, or they just did a really good marketing push and no one actually wants to use this. I talked about it, why I would not be buying it or why I would not be using it in a video a few days ago. Now, Worldcoin itself has been doing just fine in terms of price, $2.31. There are some sketchy things though. First of all, they only have about 1.11% in the circulating supply of the total supply. So you're going to be diluted 100x if you buy this token over the next 15 years. So not good for the price there. A lot of people will be dumping. And also I saw there's some pretty large sells. There's some people with a large amount that shouldn't have had any because I believe there's a lockup. I'd have to do more due diligence on that, but just a couple weird things there. Now, overall, though, it's been pretty successful. I mean, it got a lot of attention as a large, fully diluted market cap, and it kind of came out of nowhere. I hadn't really heard of it much at all before this week, but still, I would stay away from it. I don't think it's the best use of your money at this point, but do your own due diligence, like always. This is pretty interesting. U.S. Congressman says Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto was not innovative. I'm not going to play it for you, but that's basically all that he says. It's crazy that we have people making laws and influencing the law that literally don't know the name of the creator of Bitcoin. Just something to consider. These are some of the people that we're fighting against in the U.S. So I think we will be able to win over time, especially as people understand what Bitcoin actually is and the value it provides, instead of just assuming that's something that's going to crush the U.S. dollar and there's no upside potential for it. There's no use case for it. So we'll have to continue to monitor this, but it is pretty funny to watch. And then the latest piece of news in terms of the government trying to distract you. Former U.S. intelligence officer David Grush says under oath that the U.S. government is in possession of UFOs and non-human bodies. Let me know if you think this is legitimate, if you think that we actually have that kind of access to those types of technologies and biology, or if you think this is just a distraction away from the problems that we actually have and are facing here in the U.S. and across the world. Pretty interesting timing, and I have not seen anyone that really seems to have found evidence. Even Elon Musk, who runs a space company, who is the richest man in the world, says that he has not found evidence of aliens. So kind of interesting, maybe a distraction there. But let me know if you think it's a distraction or if you think it's legitimate down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on all this, and check out those links to the Patreon and to Margex in case you want to trade on leverage. I'll see you in the next video.